So yeah, this episode was a really good episode for uh Fate Extra Last Encore, and I would say that this episode actually didn't give me the same rushed feelings as the other fights. Even though the fight was over pretty quickly, I wouldn't say that it was that much rushed. I would say I was satisfied at least. Because you see, all of the fights in this series, this basic series, Fate Extra Last Encore, we have seen all of the fights are like over just like this. Like, when you look at Fate Stay Night and when you look at Fate Zero, you I'm not taking Fate Apocrypha because obviously that was bad. That was really bad. But when you look at Stay Night or Fate Stay series or Fate Zero series, you will understand that the fights it might have been like short, but it was something like this, where you could actually be satisfied watching it. Like you will find fun watching it. While Fate Extra Lost Encore, the fights in this series so far, until like the Alice fight, uh, or even yeah, until the Alice fight, not the last fight, because last fight was also quite satisfying. But until the Alice fight, it was like um quite rushed because it was like what do you like? It was like very much rushed. It was like quickly like they're rushing the series. It seemed like they were rushing the series because for some reason, because I'm pretty sure it's a 24 episode series. You can do a lot of in 24 episodes. Like you understand, right? But it's like this episode was satisfied, even though the fight was short and sweet. It still was a satisfying fight because of the way it was made. Like the Saber fight, I don't count that because that was just a quick finish. Like Saber just uses her noble phantasm and finishes that fight. But I'll give props to Hakuno's fight because that was a very satisfying fight. Like I never imagined that to be that kind of fight. Like, yo, like the camera angles and stuff. I was like, yo, this fight is quite a fight. I would say, like, yo, I really like the way they've portrayed that fight between Hakuno and that other guy, Julius or who Julius. Oh, like, yo, that fight was an awesome fight, straight up. So what basically happens in this episode is we know about Saber's past, who she is. Nero Claudius, basically. We know who she is. So basically, she was a Roman, a Roman Emperor Queen. I think so, the fifth Roman Emperor Queen, if I'm correct. So basically, what happens is all Saber wanted, like this cheerful nature, this proud, confident nature of Saber or Nero Claudius in basic. It's always been like that, but it's like this that people hate her. People hated her because she had pretty much executed her mother, and that's that's why people hated it. They thought that she's some kind of bad person and stuff, and basically she was hated by people for that. But it wasn't the case. That wasn't the case at all. Saber was just a lonely girl who actually loved the people more than her family. Like it was like this, like a true king, I would say. Like you love the people of your kingdom more than your family, but because she executed her mother, people pretty much like threw her off the ground. Like people start to get afraid and just like overthrow her from the kingdom. Like it was something that was a understandable thing because out of nowhere you get like news that what like the queen, like the queen's mother has been executed somehow, and you will always be like, what? Why did she execute it without a reason? Like it's like that. Like you understand the point I'm making here. Like people will get deprived, they'll get like really depressed with this, and they will try to overthrow the king or queen if they take down one of the main members of the family. And that's how she went off from the Roman emperor. And pretty much because Saber, she pretty much couldn't get any people to love her. She couldn't get any people to like. Saber is an attention seeker in a way, because she wanted people's attention and she wanted to help them. She loved all of the people in her kingdom, and that's why she wanted their attention. She wanted them to praise her. So she tried to do as many good hacks as possible. But in the end, that happened. Saber got overthrown from the kingdom and she pretty much killed herself. And pretty much even while being killed, she was hoping that people cheer for her. And that's pretty sad to know that Saber had that kind of past, because it's like, I really feel bad for her, because she was just a lonely little girl in the end, because she died very lonely until like 3 days she was dead. And then finally somebody found her. It was a pretty sad thing to know. And that's what happens pretty much with Saber. Now, when it comes to the um previous master, we come to know Hakuno. She is the previous master. Pretty much, Hakuno was a female who was Saber's master. That's the impression I was getting from this episode, because pretty much you could see that Hakuno, when he woke up from his like injured state and stuff, and he pretty much like was talking to Saber in a way that I can never be like her. That gave me the implication that uh Saber's previous master, she was pretty much Hakuno of current. Like, Hakuno is a reincarnation of Saber's previous master. So that was the impression I was getting from that conversation. So we also see Saber's noble phantasm for the first time. And to be honest, what a great noble phantasm. I was surprised personally to see that noble phantasm. Like, yo. It was like, yo, that noble phantasm. Also, Ronnie makes an appearance in this episode, so it was like, what? I didn't expect Ronnie to make an appearance out of nowhere. Like, it was like, yo, what? I thought that she died. But it's confirmed now that she's dead, because she, in the end, vanishes just like the other servants do. I don't know the backstory of Ronnie. I don't know the backstory of Rin, what they're gonna do with them, but I do know that there is something up with them, because Rin is a master and a servant in a way. Like, yeah. And Ronnie, oh, he just disappears. She's an NPC basically. So it's like, you get the point. Like, yeah. So pretty much, we also come to know that Hakuno was made from NPC. The previous Hakuno was pretty much made from NPC. It's just quite an interesting thing to know, because it was like, how did they make this scale from NPC? Like, what? I was like, what? How did that happen? Anyways, moving on, we see Saber's noble phantasm finally. So, Saber's noble phantasm, Kingdom of Heaven and Hell. Whew. I would say, whoa, that's a noble phantasm that I will I will never forget. Cause yo, this noble phantasm, it reminded me of Alexander from the Fate Zero series. Yo, that noble phantasm, yo, it was so much like it. I'm not saying it's the same noble phantasm and stuff, because it seemed like it put pressure. It was like a weight pressure where, like, when you use like gravity trading, like the one guy from Bleach who uses gravity on his Shikai, and he pretty much puts down pressure on that. Pretty much, I was getting the feeling of this noble phantasm in something like that. Pretty much, once you activate the noble phantasm, it puts pressure on your opponent, and Saber just slices them apart. Like, you get the point. So pretty much that was Saber's Noble Phantasm. Like it was an arena, pretty much. It was a classical Roman gladiator arena, to be exact. In a way, that's something that's pretty cool. Also, oh, while talking about, I was comparing Alexander and Saber because it was like an open space, like a time and dimension for their own space. So it was like, yeah, pretty cool. Right, I really liked it. I really liked their Noble Phantasms because it was pretty cool. Now, moving on to Hakuno. Hakuno, when he killed the other guy, Julius, it was like Hakuno pretty much, like, who is pretty much stated that no, a dead could never fulfill an expectation. Like he had hatred all over him. It was like a dead could never get his wish fulfilled. A dead, so it was like, okay, that's your final word. A dead could never get his wish fulfilled. Okay, okay, cool. But now I'm interested to see what's on the next floor because Ronnie isn't gonna appear anymore. Not my guess, at least. And I take back the statement that Alice appeared in the previous episode. I have a feeling Ronnie appeared, but I'm not gonna go into depth into that and stuff. I'm just gonna say that I'm quite interested to see now what Red Saber and Hakuno are up to next episode, because now they're ascend again, and I'm gonna get bored of this ascending stuff. Are you guys getting bored? Because it's just like at this point it's been 10 episodes and you're just ascending to the higher floors. I mean, yes, I love seeing the new monsters, I love seeing the new servants that they make appear. It's just like a boring stuff, getting higher and higher and higher up. It's like, how many more floors until we actually get to a plot point? Because obviously this was a good episode. You get the plot point, you know, Hakuno's past and stuff, but it's like, how many episodes until we get to the actual plot point? Because it's just like you're keeping on ascending, and it really is getting kind of annoying because it's just ascending over and over again. I want to know what's with Red. I want to know who was Ronnie. I want to know those stuff. Like, yo, why can't I just see those stuff? It's kind of getting boring because people like those two are just keeping on ascending. Like, I am like, this kind of, you know, have you guys read Tower of God? It kind of reminds me of that. Kind of reminds me of Tower of God because it's just like keeping on ascending over and over again, and I kind of feel boring. I'm kind of bored right now of the ascending stuff they keep on doing in this series. Like, anyways, this episode, because a good fight, I give it a solid 8 out of 10 because it was a pretty damn good fight. It was a pretty damn good fight. I'll straight away say that. It was just an awesome fight between Hakuno. I'm not saying Saber. I didn't find Saber's fight that much cool or that much awesome, but it was still a good fight between Saber and Berserk. But the real good fight was Hakuno and that Julius. Those two fought a really good fight, and that's why I give it a solid 8 out of 10 for this episode. Let me know, where do you scale this episode from 1 to 10. Don't forget to like if you like my content. Don't forget to subscribe as I do more anime and gaming content, and I'll see you in the next video. As always, peace.